Welcome, friends. I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. And thank you for joining us for our Sunrise Yin Thoracic Spine sequence. What I think you'll need to be safe and comfortable during your practice today are a yoga mat or a comfortable carpeted surface. A blanket, a single blanket for today will be just fine. 2 yoga blocks, 1 yoga bolster or a couch cushion or maybe a big body pillow. And for today, I really recommend a strap, a belt, even a hand towel for what we're doing today will work just fine. So pause your video, gather up all your materials, and then I'll see you and we'll get started with our thoracic spine sunrise yin sequence in just a moment. All right, make your way into a comfortable seated position and take some time and set this up. We're going to spend a few minutes in a reading. And then we'll start working through our thoracic spine sequence. Also a little different, I mentioned a strap is one of the props that I really recommend for today. We're going to start with some gentle movement that are not yin at all, but I think are really constructive for what we're working on today. And the reading for today is the tail end of chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, and we hear today entirely from Krishna. Krishna says, "The righteous who follow the scriptures strictly, who drink the soma and are purified of their sins, who pray to be taken to heaven, to reach the world of the gods and enjoy an indescribable bliss, although after eons of those vast and glorious pleasures, when their merit is spent, they fall back into the mortal world. Impelled by desire, they achieve only what will pass away. But to those who meditate on me undistracted and worship me everywhere, always, I will bring a reward that can never be lost. Arjuna, all those who worship other gods with deep faith are really worshiping me, even if they don't know it. For I am the only object and the only enjoyer of worship, and they fall back because they cannot know me as I truly am. Worshipping the gods, men go to the gods. Worshipping spirits to the spirits. Worshipping me, they come to me in the end. An offering, a leaf, a flower or fruit, a cup of water, I accept it if given with a loving heart. Whatever you do, Arjuna, do it as an offering to me. Whatever you say or eat or pray or enjoy or suffer. In this way, you will be freed from all the results of your actions, good or harmful, unfettered, untroubled. You will come to me. I am the same to all beings. I favor none and reject none. But those who worship me live within me, and I live in them. Even the heartless criminal, if he loves me with all his heart, will certainly grow into sainthood as he moves toward me on this path. Quickly, that man becomes pure. His heart finds eternal peace. Arjuna, no one who truly loves me will ever be lost. All those who love and trust me, even the lowest of the low, prostitutes, beggars, slaves, will attain the ultimate goal. How much easier then for ordinary people or for those with pure hearts in this sad, vanishing world. Turn to me and find freedom. Concentrate your mind on me. Fill your heart with my presence. Love me, serve me, worship me, and you will attain me at last. And we'll pick up next week with the beginning of chapter 10. All right, so from your seated position, I'd like you to find length along your spinal column first. So maybe on an inhale, press into your seat, lengthen along the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, you can let all the soft tissues fall down to the earth, but maintain that spinal column alignment if you can. And for this movement sequence, if you want to take on a gentle ujjayi, you can, but I also think you don't particularly need it. Shift your arms into goalpost arms, make little fists. So your elbows in line with your shoulders, the tops of your fists pointed up toward the stars. And then on an inhale, start drawing your shoulder blades back together like you were trying to pick up a broomstick with them. Lift your gaze, open your heart. And then as you exhale, join your hands, wrists, forearms, and elbows. Release your chin to your chest, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Do this 3 more times at your own pace into the cadence of your own breath. And then after 3 rounds, find some stillness again, maybe a goalpost arms. Release your hands. If you want to shake your arms out, feel free to do so. And then roll over your crossed ankles. Make your way into a tabletop shape. Your index fingers at 12 o'clock, maybe shoulders floating over your wrists, maybe hips floating over your knees. And we'll find some cat rolling here. On an inhale breath, drop your belly down toward the earth. Lift your chin. Drag the heels of your hands as if you were trying to touch your knees. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Inhale, drop your belly, open your heart, maybe tuck your toes. Exhale, round through your shoulders. Again, do this 3 more times at your own pace into the cadence of your own breath. And then come into a neutral spine position, floating your shoulders over your wrists again. Keep the back of your head buoyant. Note the tendency, the very human tendency for the forehead to drape down to the earth. And instead, keep the back of your head in line with the back of your heart. And on your next inhale, drop just your chest. Keep your arms straight, drop just your chest down toward the earth. Feel your shoulder blades close together. Exhale, press into your hands, press into your shins, round through your shoulders. Maybe at the top, release your chin to your chest. Inhale, drop your chest down toward the earth. Space between your shoulder blades maybe closes up like you were holding a pencil now. Exhale, round through your shoulders. 3 more of these at your own pace to the cadence of your own breath. And then after 5 full rounds, 5 full iterations, tuck your toes under your feet. Walk your knees together, camel legs, feet out nice and wide, maybe full mat width. Left hand under your sternum, so right in the center of your mat. So this is going to be a little different than I've cued this in the past. Bring your fingertips to your temples like you were saluting. And then on an inhale breath, squeeze your legs together. Exhale, lift your right elbow up toward the stars. And then stay right here. Or each exhale, dip your elbow slightly down toward the earth. Each inhale, re-engage, lift your right elbow up toward the heavens. And then continue doing this at your own pace into the cadence of your own breath. All right, come back to stillness. Release your right hand to the center of your mat. Tips of your fingers in your left hand to your left temple, again, like you were giving a salute. Inhale, find length along your spinal column. Squeeze your legs together. Exhale, lift that left elbow, and then flow through this at your own pace. This is such a tricky area of the body. We spend so much time, so much of our movement patterns craned peering over laptop computers and staring down at cell phones all rounded in our shoulders. We can get really locked up in the space between the shoulder blades. All right, come back into stillness. Release both hands down to the earth. Release your knees off to the side, and then get there how you like, but use good body mechanics. Come onto your right side, grab a block. And then come into like a right forearm plank. So your right shoulder's floating over your right elbow. Tuck the block under your right. Sometimes we do this in the rib cage. In this case, I'd like it right under the armpit. And then left hand down to the mat between your torso and the left hand edge of your mat. Just walk your right elbow forward, release the right hand side of your head into your right hand. Right, and a lot of people's occupations have them kind of craning their gaze forward and rounded in the upper back and shoulders. I have a client who's a dentist, and every time when she comes in, say, "Hey Zara, how you feeling?" She says, "Oh God, my upper back is really hurting me." Right, so finding these little movements that we can incorporate into the day. So like from that seated position, that action with the goalpost arms of drawing the shoulder blades together and rounding them in front of you. What I love about that is you can do that from anywhere. You can do that seated at your desk. You can do it from Warrior One. You can do it from a cross-legged seat. Right? And because the thoracic spine and the shoulders are so closely linked together, we're going to do a lot of stuff today for shoulders too. All right, so from where we're at right now, remembering that what we're looking for, the target goal is riding the threshold between discomfort and pain. You could stay right here. You could also lift your head up, release your right hand down to your mat, in between your torso and the left hand edge of your mat. Cover your right hand with your left, and then release your forehead down onto the back of your left hand. I didn't mention this before. If it's helpful for stability, you could put a bit of a bend in your knees here as well. So in the last year or so, I've gotten a little bit obsessive about my thoracic spine. It is an area where I also get really locked up. And so I've been experimenting with movements and incorporating them into movement sequences, both for myself and to share with other people. And I worry sometimes about going overboard and including thoracic spine too often. But it's interesting. I went to see a dear friend of mine is also my chiropractor. And it used to be that if I went more than 2 weeks without visiting her, my spine was super inflexible. It was all locked up. And then I was working on spinal column mobility for I don't know, months in my practice. And I went 3 or 4 months without a visit, and I went to see her, and she said, "I never saw your spine move so well." And then I've since shifted onto other parts of the body. So the last 2 adjustments I went through, she's like, "You were doing so well. What happened?" So I think for most of us, we probably can't work this part of the body too often. All right, friends, if you've released your forehead down onto the back of your left hand, lift your forehead, lift yourself up, remove your block, and however you want to get there, use good body mechanics, but make your way onto your left side. And we set this up the same way. Starting from that left forearm plank, slide the block under your armpit, and then right hand down between your torso and the right hand edge of your mat. Slide that left elbow forward, fashion model pose. right, friends. So this is the subscapularis release. So even if you change nothing from here, it's still doing what we want, right? So you could stay right here. Or if you've got more space, release your left hand down to your mat. Place your right hand on the back of your left hand. Release your forehead onto the back of your right hand. And usually in yin, we want stillness. But if you wanted to just shift that left shoulder from side to side a little bit and massage your armpit with this block, we're not doing this as a lymph node massage to boost the immune system. And that's a really nice benefit of this pose. And you can enhance that if you like by gently shifting the shoulder back and forth on the block. All right, friends, start to lift your forehead up, lift yourself up off the block, make your way onto your belly, Sphinx pose. The block in between your wrists may be at the highest height. It will be for me this round. Lengthen your legs long, and then relax everything from your lower back, your waistline, down to your toes. I have a tendency here to keep dragging myself forward, so I'll flip my palms up toward the stars, maybe release your forehead down toward the earth, but soft, soft, soft in the belly. Check in and notice if you're holding tension anywhere where it's preventing you maybe from relaxing into the shape. Right? For me, often that's the booty or the shoulders. Right? So check in there, see if your glutes are clamped up. And if you can, maybe choose to relax them. Like even just noticing is a victory, right? If you did nothing but notice. But noticing does offer us up some other options, including the option to choose to release there, if that seems to serve our interests. All right, friends, check in with your body. You're fine right here. If you stayed right here the whole time, you changed nothing. This is still meaningful, useful, productive work. The other option, if you've opened up some space, turn your palms down, take your fingers out wide, press into the heels of your hands, lift your elbows. Seal pose. Maybe walking the heels of your hands back towards your waist. And then checking back and monitor that point of compression in the lower back. Right? Remember, we want 4 to 6 on a scale from 0 to 10 of sensation. So if that spikes to 7, that's probably more than what you need here. But again, this is your practice. Soften the belly, though. Soften the glutes. All right, friends, if you've transitioned from Sphinx into Seal, come onto your forearms. Turn your block to the medium height, and then we're going to transition to Broken Branch. Slide your left hand forward. Slice your right arm under your chest across the front plane of your body. Left arm over your right. Walk, walk, walk the fingers out in opposite directions. And then stay right here or tuck your toes up under your feet. Rock the crown of your head forward. Maybe release your forehead down to the blocks. So this is definitely a shoulder pose, right? So it's thought to be a quintessential lung meridian pose. So it's really deep shoulder stretch. But I also feel this spreading the space between my shoulder blades apart. So I feel like it really lends itself to our task and our purpose for today well. And this is a pose where people seem to have a love-hate relationship. When I was first introduced to this pose, I thought it was pretty awful. Not that it was not effective, I just thought it was miserable. But as I've used this more and more in my practice and opened up some space in my body, I actually find when I haven't done this for a while, I miss it. But I also, one of my teachers and mentors tells me that she finds this pose to be really claustrophobic. Like it doesn't feel safe or feel good for her. So I would say, like, whatever your emotional response is okay. But anything that compromises my sense of safety, I'm not going to stay in it. And I would encourage you to not stay in it either. And
Sensation here is really interesting in that it's the same thing. We want the threshold between discomfort and pain. There's no reason for us to push into pain here. But when I have this set up well for my body, my bottom arm, regardless, so in this case, my right arm legit goes to sleep, like almost immediately. And it's not particularly uncomfortable. You have to decide what's okay for you and for your body today. All right, friends, if you choose to rock the crown of your head forward, tuck your toes under your feet, walk your heels back, unwind with your left arm and your right, and we'll set up for the other side, sliding your right hand forward, threading your left arm under your chest, right arm over your left, walk, walk, walk the fingers out in opposite directions, and stay here, or rock the crown of your head forward. It might be useful to check in and just notice if you've got any gripping or muscular engagement anywhere. I just found some in my shoulder, right? And then see if you can soften them. These poses where once we're set up, there's no muscular engagement required, to me are really great practice grounds for starting to drop into our body more commonly, notice where we're feeling things, and if we're gripping, maybe practicing choosing to let that go. Walk your heels back behind you. Unwind your arms. Then remove your block, set it off to the side for now. Lower your heart down to the earth. And then bring your hands under your shoulders. Press yourself up onto your knees. Grab 2 blocks in your strap. Bring the knees more or less together, maybe a little space in between the heels. And then set the 2 blocks, one on top of the other at the lowest height. Strap can just be close by anywhere. And then notice how you're feeling, maybe in particular in the quadriceps on top of the knees. And if you have space here, you can reach back and remove a block. And you're fine right where you're at. You don't have to change anything. If you have even more space, reach back, remove the second block, maybe lower your seat down towards your heels. For me, that spikes me up past 7. So I'm going to have 1 block under the heels. Take the strap in your right hand and then drop your right hand in between your shoulder blades. Right elbow points toward the stars. And maybe to start, just left hand on your right elbow.
Walk the fingers of your right hand in that strap further down your spinal column. And this is not a particularly yin cue, but press the back of your head into your right arm. So good spinal column alignment. Now the left hand can stay right here on the elbow, or take the back of your left hand to your lower back, find your strap, and start walking your left hand up the spinal column along the strap. If your fingers easily and naturally come together in a bind, and you can do that at a level of sensation between 4 to 6, that is great. If not, that's also great. Right? If you've got more space, maybe walk the fingers of your right hand further down your spinal column. Walk the back of your left hand higher up your spinal column. But as always, we start from a platform of knowing there was nothing wrong with where you were before. You were already doing it. So if your left hand is holding on to a strap or a towel, release it gently. Slide your left hand to your lower back and release your right arm too. Ooh, maybe shake your arms out. And then there's no rush, but when you're ready, we'll get set up for the other side. The towel or the strap in your left hand this time. Feed your left hand in between your shoulder blades. Maybe start with your right hand on that left elbow. Press the back of your head into your left arm. And then as you're ready, back your right hand to your lower back, find your strap, find your towel, start walking the back of your right hand higher up to the spinal column until you reach your target level of sensation.
right, so just probe for space, see where you're at with sensation. And if you've got some, you can adjust the hands and you don't need to. If your right hand is holding onto your towel or your strap, you can start to release that. Slide the back of your right hand back down to your lower back. Release both arms. From my perspective, we're done with the strap for now. So unless you have another desire to use it later, you can set it aside. Maybe shake your arms out. And then there's no great rush, but I'd like you to make your way into your right side. Put a big bend in your knees, almost like you were trying to touch yourself in the chin. As much as you can bend your knees and still be relaxed. And then start, maybe left hand to your left rib cage, start folding your left shoulder down toward the earth. From here, you could tee your arms out to the side if you like. With this action of drawing the knees closer up toward the chin, it sort of lifts the location of the twist and gets it higher up along the spinal column. So a few applications. One is it gets it not into the thoracic spine, but closer to the thoracic spine. It certainly adds more of a twist in the thoracic spine in my body. But it also helps protect the sacroiliac joint. So people who are tender there or sore from over twisting or injuries there, this can be a much better option. Or people who have chronic low back pain, this can be a more sustainable supine twist. So if you've got a lot of torso and shoulder mobility and your left shoulder comes all the way down to the earth behind you or close, you could, if you choose, lengthen that left arm out
long behind you. That would be way too much twist for my body, but it might be a good fit for yours. The other option, straighten your left leg, let gravity draw the big toe edge blade of your left foot closer down toward the earth. Bring your left hand back to your left rib cage. Put a bend back on your left knee. Lift your left shoulder up, float it over your right. And then straighten your legs, roll over onto your left side. Put another big bend in your knees. Knees as close to your chin as you can. Right hand to your right rib cage. And then start folding that right shoulder back down to the earth behind you. Right? Only if your body wants more sensation here. Lengthen your right arm out long behind you, and or straighten your right leg. Bring your right hand back to your right rib cage. Straighten your right leg. Lift your right shoulder up, float it over, over your left. And then however you want to get there, just use good body mechanics. Press yourself up onto your knees, grab both blocks, have your bolster handy. We're going to move into either restorative fish or heart bench. So for either version, either your bolster or a block on the medium setting, medium height rather, is parallel to the long edge of your mat. A second block either on top of the bolster or maybe 3 to 4 inches behind that. And then whatever the support is, whether it's your bolster or a block, bra strap level, so the bottom of the rib cage, T12 vertebrae rests here. And then release your forehead back onto some form of support. The block could be at any height, right? Butterfly legs or the soles of your feet on the earth or long legs. I actually don't care about your legs today. But I like, if you can, have the arms out to the side and feel for a sense of gravity drawing your shoulder blades down on either side of this block or bolster, whichever is supporting you. So the last two poses of the practice, this one and my recommendation for the final resting shape, are both mechanical releases to open up and reset the thoracic spine, and they just do it from opposite directions. right, friends, gently, gently, gently roll off to the side, remove your blocks. And you can set up into any final resting shape. So what I'm going to offer is just one of many options. But one thing that I feel like really supports the work that we did today, if you take your blocks, you could experiment with the lowest height or the medium height, shoulder width apart, close to the top edge of your mat, and then come down, lay onto your belly with your hands down by your waist, palms facing the sky. Rest the tops of your shoulders at the top of these blocks.
All right, friends, as always, you don't have to change anything. If you wanted to spend more time here, you could even shut off the sound on your device and stay here for as long as you like. But if you're ready to add some movement back into your day, perhaps start by drawing some deeper breaths. Bigger into the belly and the chest on your inhale. More full and complete on your exhale. And if that feels good, maybe start to add some other small movements, maybe wiggling your fingers or your toes. If larger movements are what you need, you could go bigger, rotating your hands at the wrists, your feet at the ankles. You could take a full body stretch. Now, if you're laying on your belly and you'd like to take a full body stretch, particularly with your shoulders on blocks, swim your arms forward, come up onto the tips of your fingers, tuck your toes under your feet, and then use the tips of your fingers to drag the upper part of your spine and the crown of your head toward the top edge of your mat. With your toes tucked, press your heels back to draw the lower part of your spine down toward the lower edge of your mat. And then roll over onto either side. Find a fetal position. Take 3 or 4 breaths. Check in. Notice how you're feeling. In particular, that space in between your shoulder blades. So from the base of your neck down to bra strap level, the bottom of your rib cage. Notice if you opened up and created some space there. And then press yourself up into any seated position, any soft eyes, so they can be, your eyes could be open with a soft gaze. They could also be gently closed. Anything you like with your hands. Thank you, my dear friends, for moving and breathing with me once again. I appreciate your energy, your breath, and your practice more than you know. I invite you, if you choose, to draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for this morning. Great job, friends. Once again, I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness, and this was our Sunrise Yin Thoracic Spine sequence. You are doing amazing. Keep going.